Leah likely was veiled, in keeping with the ancient Oriental custom of heavily veiling a prospective bride, and this doubtless contributed to the success of the ruse. Jacob had served 7 years with Rachel in mind, but for this work he received Leah. Rachel was granted to him after he celebrated a week of 7 days with Leah, but Jacob had to work 7 more years to pay for Rachel. GE 29. 18-28. The account tells us that Leah was hated. GE 29. 31, 33. But it also recounts that, after he had finally got Rachel, Jacob expressed more love for Rachel than for Leah. GE 29. 30. Undoubtedly Jacob did not hold malicious hatred for Leah, but viewed Rachel more lovingly, as his favorite wife. He continued to care for Leah and to have relations with her. Leah's being hated, therefore, would merely mean that Jacob loved her less than Rachel. See hate. Leah became the mother of 7 of Jacob's children, his 6 sons Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, and a daughter, Dinah. GE 29. 32-35. 30. 16-21. Accordingly, Leah is named a truth for 11 along with Rachel as one of those who built the house of Israel. Leah had the honor of having borne Levi, who became the founder of Israel's priestly tribe, and Judah, who became the father of the nation's royal tribe. Leah and her children accompanied Jacob when he left Paddan Aram and returned to Canaan, the land of his birth. GE 31. 11-18. Before Jacob met Esau en route, he protectively divided off the children to Leah and to Rachel and their maidservants, putting the maidservants and their children foremost, followed by Leah and her children, with Rachel and Joseph to their rear. GE 33. 1-7. Leah's children accompanied Jacob into Egypt, but the Bible account does not say that she did so. GE 46. 15. The time, place, and circumstances of her death are not furnished, but she may have died in Canaan. Whatever the case, the patriarch had her body taken to the family burial place, the cave in the field of Machpelah. O textui acute muritra longo. 11-230 may have served as one of the leavening agents for these products. Excavations in Egypt have yielded porous bread containing dead yeast cells. The Egyptians are also said to have used natron sodium carbonate in making bread. Sodium carbonate would not bring about the process of fermentation as did sadu, but it would provide gas bubbles to make the bread rise. In Egypt, as in Israel, the primary practice in bread making seems to have been to save some dough from a batch, let it ferment, and use the resulting dough to leaven a fresh batch. In God's law to Israel, no grain offering that the Israelites presented by fire to Jehovah was to be made of a leavened thing. Law 2. 11. However, leaven could be used in connection with Thanksgiving communion offerings, in which the offerer voluntarily made the presentation in a spirit of thankfulness for Jehovah's many blessings. The meal was to be one of cheerfulness. Leavened bread was normally eaten on happy occasions. Along with the meat, that is, the unleavened, and the unfermented cakes, he would bring ring-shaped cakes of leavened bread, which were not put on the altar, but were eaten by the offerer and by the officiating priest. The 7. 11-15. At the presentation of the first fruits of the wheat harvest, on the day of Pentecost, the high priest waved before Jehovah 2 loaves of leavened wheat bread. 23. 15-21. It is noteworthy that, on Pentecost Day, 33 CE, the first members of the Christian congregation, namely, the disciples of Jesus Christ taken from among the Jews, were anointed with Holy Spirit. Jesus Christ, as Jehovah's great high priest, was able to present before God the first of his spirit-begotten brothers. These were taken from sinful mankind. Act 2. 1-4, 41. About 3 years and 4 months later, the first uncircumcised Gentile converts to Christianity, Cornelius and his household, were anointed with Holy Spirit, thereby being presented before God. These were likewise from sinful humankind. Act 10. 24, 44-48. Row 5. 12. The festival of unfermented cakes occupied the 7 days following Passover Day, namely Abib, or Nisan, 15-21. During those days nothing leavened nor any dough was even to be found in the Israelites' houses or seen with them. Acts 12. 14-20. 13. 6, 7. 23. 15. This served to remind them of their hasty deliverance from Egypt by Jehovah's hand, when they did not have time to wait for their dough to ferment but, in their hurry, carried it with them along with their kneading troughs. Acts 12. 34. Symbolic significance. Leaven is often used in the Bible to denote sin or corruption. Jesus Christ told his disciples, "Watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees," and, "Watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy." The disciples at first did not understand that Jesus was using a symbolism, but they finally discerned that he was warning them to be on guard against false doctrine and hypocritical practices, the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees, which teaching had a corrupting effect. Mount 16. 6, 11, 12. Luke 12. 1. He also mentioned Herod, evidently including his party followers in one of his warnings, saying, "Keep your eyes open, look out for the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod,